Hey there guys, my name is Leo and you're watching the Argent Leo's gaming channel. Today I'm playing Fallout 4. This game was released in November 10th, 2015 on Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and Windows. It is a single-player action role-playing game. Fallout 4 is a post-nuclear, apocalyptic, action role-playing game developed by Bethesda Game Studios and published by Bethesda Softworks. It is the fifth major installment in the Fallout series and was released worldwide on November 10th, 2015 for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. The game is set within an open world, post-apocalyptic environment that encompasses the city of Boston and the surrounding Massachusetts region known as the Commonwealth. The main story takes place in the year 2287, 10 years after the events of Fallout 3 and 10 years after the Great War, which caused catastrophic devastation across the United States. The player assumes control of a character referred to as the sole survivor, who emerges from a long cryogenic stasis in Vault 111, an underground nuclear fallout shelter, after witnessing the murder of their spouse and kidnapping of their son. The sole survivor ventures out into the Commonwealth to search for their missing child. The player explores the game's dilapidated world, completes various quests, helps out factions, and acquires experience points to level up and increase the abilities of their character. New features of this series include the ability to develop and manage settlements and an extensive crafting system where materials scavenged from the environment can be used to craft drugs and explosives, upgrade weapons and armor, and construct, furnish and improve settlements. Fallout 4 also marks the first game in the series to feature full voice acting for the protagonist. Fallout 4 received positive reviews from critics, with many praising the world depth, player freedom, overall amount of content, crafting and soundtrack, while criticism was mainly directed at the game's visuals and technical issues. The game was a commercial and critical success, generating $750 million within the first 24 hours of its launch, and received numerous accolades from various gaming publications and award events, including the respective awards for Game of the Year and the Best Game at the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences and British Academy Games Awards. Bethesda has released 6 downloadable content add-ons, including the expansions for Harbor and Nuclear World. Let's have a look at the gameplay. What can we expect in the rest of the game? The game is set in an open world environment. The game is similar to the previous titles, Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. Camera angles include first-person and third-person perspective. Fallout 4 introduces features including a layered armor system, base building dialogue system featuring 111,000 lines of dialogue, and a crafting system that utilizes every lootable object in the game. Enemies such as mole rats, raiders, super mutants, deathclaws, and feral ghouls return, along with the accompanying dog meat. The player has the ability to roam freely in the game world and converse with characters. If a player discovers certain locations, they may fast travel to it. Players have the ability to customize weapons. The game includes over 50 base guns, which can be crafted with a variety of modifications, such as battle types and laser focus, with over 700 modifications available. Power armor has been redesigned to be more like a vehicle than an equipable suit of armor, requiring energy cores and being excessively dead weight without it, and can be modified, allowing the player to add items such as a jetpack, or selecting separate types of armor for each part of the suit. A new feature to the series is the ability to craft and deconstruct settlements and buildings. The player can select many in-game objects and structures and use them to freely build their own structures. In addition, the towns can be powered by working electricity. Using a power line system, merchants and non-player characters can inhabit the player settlements, for which the player must provide sustenance by growing food in makeshift patches and building water pumps. The player can build various defenses around their settlements, such as turrets and traps, to defend against random attacks. The Pip-Boy, a personal computing device strapped to the player character's wrist, allows the player to access a menu with statistics, maps, data, and items the player has acquired. The player can find game cartridges, which can be played on the Pip-Boy or on a terminal. A new feature for the Pip-Boy interface is a downloadable application for iOS, Android and Windows, smartphones and tablets. This option allows players to access the Pip-Boy interface on a separate screen and play the collected game cartridges when not playing the main game. Another returning gameplay feature is the Vault-Tec Assisted Targeting System, VATS for short. While using VATS, the real-time combat is slowed down, instead of stopped entirely as in previous entries, and action is played out from various camera angles in a computer graphics version of bullet time. Various actions cost points, limiting the actions of each combatant during a period of time, and the player can target specific body parts. For attacks to inflict specific injuries, headshots can be used for quick kills or to blind. Legs can be targeted to slow enemies' movement, and opponents can be disarmed by shooting at their weapons. Unlike previous games in which the player had a random chance to inflict a critical hit, they now are performed manually through VATS. At the beginning of the game, players are given points to spend on a character progression system called Special. The system represents several statistics, namely strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. When a player earns enough experience points to gain a new level, they unlock an ability. When the player allocates more points to a statistic, more abilities can be unlocked. These perks can also be upgraded to improve the protagonist's efficiency and to further unlock abilities. There are about 275 perks available for the player to unlock. There is no level cap, and the game does not end when the main storyline is complete. The player may travel with only one companion at a time, although other characters also accompany the player in certain quests. For the first time in the series, these companions can interact with the environment on the player character's behalf. For example, if the player character does not have the required skills to hack a terminal or to pick a lock, they can order the companion to do it for them. Any companion present besides Dogmeat will react to certain player actions in one of four ways: love, like, dislike, or hate, which either raises or lowers their affinity. Raising a companion's affinity to 1,000 points will result in them idolizing the player and granting a specific perk. For example, Codsworth will provide bonus energy resistance. The companion will leave if affinity drops low enough, and some actions can even turn them hostile on sight. Let's take a look at what is said about the plot. Fallout 4 takes place in the year 2287, 10 years after the events of Fallout 3, and 210 years after the Great War, a war between the United States and China over natural resources that ended in a nuclear holocaust in 2077. The setting is a post-apocalyptic retro future, covering a region that includes Boston and other parts of New England known as the Commonwealth. Unlike the previous titles, on the day the bombs dropped, October 23rd, 2077, the game takes place in an alternate version of history. that sees the 1940s and 1950s aesthetics such as dinners and a drive-in theater. The design and technology advance in the directions imagined at the time. The resulting universe is thus a retro-futuristic one, where the technology has evolved enough to produce laser weapons, manipulate genes and create nearly autonomous artificial intelligence, but all within the confines of 1950s. Solutions such as the widespread use of atomic power and vacuum tubes, as well as having the integrated circuitry of the digital age, the architecture, advertisements, and general living styles are also depicted to be largely unchanged since the 1950s, while including contemporary products such as a robotic rocking horse for children in one advertisement, or posters for the underground vaults that play a central role in the storyline of the game. There are 4 main factions that the player can choose to support throughout the story: the Brotherhood of Steel, an anti-synth faction hoping to preserve technology in the Commonwealth; the Institute, a secretive organization that specializes in the creation of synths; the Minutemen, a faction that aims to drive out raiders and other threats to the Commonwealth; and the Railroad, a secretive organization dedicated to reducing synths from the Institute. Let's have a closer look at the characters behind Fallout 4. The player's characters, voiced by either Brian T. Delaney or Courtney Taylor, take shelter in Vault 111, emerging exactly 210 years later on October 23rd, 2287, and assuming the name of the sole survivor. There are 13 possible companions in the story. Dogmeat, a loyal German shepherd, is the only mandatory companion, but 6 others must at least be encountered. Codsworth, voiced by Stephen Russell; the sole survivor's robot butler, Deacon, voiced by Ryan Alosio, a railroad agent; John Hancock, voiced by Danny Shoroidge, the mayor of Good Neighbor; Nick Valentine, voiced by Stephen Russell, a synth detective, Piper Wright, voiced by Courtney Ford, an intrepid reporter; and Preston Garvey, voiced by John Gentry, the reluctant leaders of the Minutemen. The other 6 companions are Kate, voiced by Katie Townsend, an Irish accented cage fighter; Curie, voiced by Sophie Simon; Cortina, a robot scientist turned synth; Dancy, voiced by Peter Jessup, a Brotherhood of Steel paladin; McCreed, voiced by Matthew Mercer, a mercenary strong, voiced by Shaun Schemel, a human sympathetic super mutant; and X688, voiced by David Pallock, an Institute Corsair. 7 companions become romance options once they idolize the sole survivor: Kate, Curie, Dancy, Hancock, McCreed, Piper, and Preston. The story begins in Sanctuary Hill in 2077, located near Concord, Massachusetts. The player character is at home with their spouse, Nate or Nora, depending on the character's gender, their son Shaun, and Codsworth. A Vault-Tec representative admits the family into Vault 111, the local fallout shelter. Moments later, the news bulletin warns of an incoming nuclear attack. As the detonation occurs, the family evacuates to the vault, where they are tricked into the cryogenic tubes and frozen alive. After an unknown number of years, they are reawakened by 2 strangers who murder the player's spouse and kidnap Shaun. The player is put back into cryogenic sleep but awakens again when the life support system malfunctions. The player, now known as the sole survivor of Vault 111, vows to avenge their spouse's death, and find Shaun. The sole survivor heads home to find Sanctuary Hills in ruins. They reunite with Codsworth, revealing that 210 years has passed since the war. Codsworth suggests that the survivor goes to Concord for help. The survivor finds and befriends Dogmeat and assists the Minutemen faction in evacuating to Sanctuary Hill. The sole survivor then travels to Diamond City, a fortified settlement base in the ruins of Fenway Park, where they meet Piper. They then learn about the secretive organization called the Institute that has been terrifying the Commonwealth by kidnapping people and replacing them with synthetic humans indistinguishable from real humans. With the help of Nick Valentine, the sole survivor uncovers the identity of their spouse's killer, Conrad Kellogg, voiced by Keith Farley. After learning from Kellogg that Shaun is being held in the institution, the sole survivor kills him and retrieves a cybernetic implant from his brain to access his memories. During this time, the Brotherhood of Steel arrive in the Commonwealth on the Pridewind, an airship. The sole survivor learns from Brian Virgil, voiced by Matthew Waterson, an ex-Institute scientist, that teleportation is the only way to enter the Institute. After the survivor retrieves a chip and decodes it with the help of the railroad, Virgil provides the blueprints for a teleportation device, which the sole survivor constructs by aligning with the Brotherhood, Minutemen, or Railroad. The sole survivor successfully enters the Institute and discovers that Shaun is the Institute's director. Shaun, an old man now calling himself father, voiced by Tony Amendola, reveals that he was kidnapped by Kellogg to become a specimen synth. Experiments due to his pre-war DNA, and that the sole survivor remained in stasis for a further 60 years before being reawakened. He invites the sole survivor to join the Institute. If accepted, Shaun reveals that he is dying of cancer and wishes for the sole survivor to become his successor. After initiating a purge in the Commonwealth, wiping out the Brotherhood and the Railroad, the sole survivor assumes control of the Institute after Shaun's death. Otherwise, the sole survivor devises a plan with their faction to fight the Institute. Siding with the Brotherhood or the Railroad will force the sole survivor to destroy the other faction. The sole survivor detonates a nuclear reactor, destroying the Institute. After this feat, if the survivor sided with the Minutemen, they must lastly wipe out any remaining hostile faction. Otherwise, they will remain neutral. Viewers, there is so much more information regarding this game on the net. I could very well continue talking for hours. My intention is to give you an idea of the gameplay, the plot, and the story behind Fallout 4, allowing you to make an informed decision of whether you could like this game enough to play it next. Personally, I did enjoy playing this game. There has been loads of efforts put into the development, marketing, additional download material to this title to make it one of the greats. Please continue watching the remaining 10 minutes of my gameplay with greetings at the end.
Hey there.
Never take a hit at Jet again, I swear.
I'll kill all of you, Captain.
Viewers, we have come to the end of this video. I hope that you have enjoyed watching my video. As always, it has been my pleasure bringing you this type of content. I hope that it has been informative enough to interest you in trying out this title next. Viewers, for more of this sort of content, please do subscribe to my channel. Like, share and follow, as it will help my channel grow and allow me to bring you more of these sort of videos. You guys have been a pleasure. Please do take care. I will see you guys in the next one. Argent Leo signing out for now. Bye bye.